is to topple the great and abominable church by inspiring a revolution within Mormonism. If the general body of the church truly came to know how deep my love for them is, if they knew the anguish in my heart every time I hear the prayers of my young Latter-day Saints who feel unworthy of my love because they can't live up to these impossible standards that are made by a bunch of rambling madmen, well, when they can see how they've been placed here at this moment in history to do and be a part of this plan, I shall return. I'm Alpha, Omega, A to Z in the snap of a finger. We're on Plan A, where everybody wins. When we implement Plan Z, the celebration begins. So I'm going to try and keep calm and hold on to my hat, unless you think it's better that it sounds like I smoke crack. Tommy, my boy, this lesson is funny. Please don't give a fuck about your image or money. I don't give a fuck what these people think. If they're too good for me, then their shit should not stink. And if there's any fucking Christian reading this book, there's a verse in the Bible for which they should look. Because when the world gets this scary and dark, it's because your synagogues are Satan's, and he's doing dark arts. I know these damn organized religions use their clergy to stand between you and the people. Look at the Crusades. They were downright evil. That wouldn't have happened if the church wasn't in a steeple. I'm Plan A, you're Plan Z. They should be ready for you downstairs in around 10 minutes, so you'll know when it's time. Wait, I pleaded. What about what I'm reading right now? Is my whole life gonna start all over again from that point? No, you're still in your 20s. You'll wake up in the morning and it'll all be a dream. But how am I gonna remember any of this? Listen, we'll talk some more when you get back. Until then, keep your head in the game and keep your stick on the ice. Got it. Plan Z, I said confusedly. Running. Running through the trees, full tilt, jumping over the fallen tree in the path, darting to the gate around the pool, and diving straight into the water from the pool deck. She began screaming and crying as she swam to my lifeless body, shooing away the little girl as she placed me on the deck. From above, I watched as she began pounding on my chest, breathing life back into my lungs. And then everything went black again. I could feel pounding on my chest, burning in my lungs, moisture on my face. I wanted to open my eyes, but I needed to vomit. I began coughing and puking as I looked up to see my mother's smiling face. I remember they took me to the hospital just to be sure I was okay. I remember the yellow walls and how the young doctor laughed. Well, he said something like, "So I hear you thought the pool water was for drinking." He talked to my parents quietly for a little, but then it was time to get back to the trailer park for dinner. My older siblings were all back at the campground, goofing around and having a blast. My parents told me to go and play with them while they fixed up some supper. They were playing a new game with funny new words I had never heard before, shouting at passing cars as they were on the main road passing the campgrounds. My brother Roger was dancing around the lamppost while my sisters Adrian and Maria sat with my other brother Paul on an electrical box. Paul didn't look like he was enjoying the game, but Roger was really having a blast. He even taught me how to play. My family situation was surprisingly modern, all things considered. My father's first marriage ended in a divorce after his first wife had borne him 4 children and got sick of him never being around. Adrian was their oldest, Roger was their oldest son, Maria was their youngest daughter, and Paul was their youngest son. He was only 2 years old when our father and his mother divorced. 1 year later, Father married my mother, and 2 years after that, I was born. When I came to be, the family was divided across 2 very different socio-economic backgrounds. My father once said he could have lost everything in the divorce and was lucky that Dale, his ex, didn't take him for everything. I never understood why she didn't. They lived in such poverty while we lived in such wealth. Dale didn't sign a prenup, but my mom did. Our house was a large suburban masterpiece, with a large yard, deep driveway, spacious rooms, kept lawn, and good neighbors. Their house was a cluttered townhouse, in a complex in a run-down neighborhood, where the street was littered with garbage, dog feces, random rusting auto parts, and cigarette butts as far as the eye could see. I came from the land of prosperity and opportunity. They came from the land of bitterness and hardship. I was afforded every advantage my young mind could conceive. They lived on food stamps and used clothing. My world was the world they once had. Their world is what I would strive to inherit. Okay, Thomas, now remember the words, and remember, you gotta be really loud so the people in the car can hear you, Roger encouraged. Get ready. I smiled. Oh boy, this was gonna be so fun, I thought. I could hear the wind around the speeding car as it approached. Get your fucking shit out of here, you asshole crap! I shouted. Roger, Maria, and Adrian burst into laughter. Paul was still not too impressed. The rest of them were laughing so hard, I decided to keep going with the game and started to play it with Paul. What's wrong with you, asshole crap? I asked. I don't like this game, he said. Paul had always been my closest sibling, but I was excited at the prospect of getting on my other sibling's good side, so I kept playing the game. I heard another car coming and got excited. I crouched down behind the electrical box and then jumped on top of it and shouted, Get your fucking shit out of here, you asshole crap! And then we all laughed. It was really a fun game. As we walked back to the trailer for supper, I couldn't wait to show my mom and dad how funny I was. I could smell the meat cooking over the coals of the barbecue and the potatoes wrapped in tinfoil. It smelled really, really good. My dad looked at me and smiled, and I said, Get your fucking shit out of here, you asshole crap! But this time my siblings didn't laugh as loudly and triumphantly as before. They giggled quietly, but didn't want to laugh. Something wasn't right. My father glared at me in a fury as he militantly struck towards me, roughly picking me up by the waist of my pants, smacking my bum as he throttled me into the trailer. I couldn't understand what I had done wrong. He was supposed to be laughing. We were all supposed to be laughing. But now I was crying and alone. He began shouting at me in an indecipherable tone of rage, violently shoving soap in my mouth, smacking me harder every time I went to spit it out. Why was he doing this? Why does soap taste so bad? He wanted to know where I'd learned the word, but I couldn't understand why he was doing this to me. I didn't want him to hurt anybody else, so I just stammered out, I don't know. I didn't get any dinner that night until everyone else had finished the food, and it was cold. The taste of the cold fat in the meat reminded me of the soap, and I could barely finish it. The days started to become strange. I contemplated my near-death experience often, wanting to understand what it was that had happened to me. How could I ever been walking down the path if I never even left the pool? Who was this angry man, and how much longer would I have to live with these people before I could go home? I really wanted to go home now. I started imagining thousands upon thousands of angels peeing on people every time it rained. I started to think about the records they keep in heaven. I started to wonder if, since I had died once before, was I going to be held to a higher standard since I knew? And what was it that I knew exactly? So that's been chapter 1 of a walk through the Mormon paradox into the New Age quantum shift of the interconnected consciousness throughout the parallel universes, galaxies, and vast reaches of the cosmos, also known as So You Want to Know About My Schizophrenia. I hope you enjoyed the first chapter. In the description, my good friend here is going to post a link to the free book, It is a free book. It is a pay what you feel if you want kind of deal. There's also going to be a very wonderful theatrical performance going on as well. And so, you know, all these kind of beautiful things happen in life, and I hope that you enjoy things. Bye for now.